Hello, this is Kris Nelson for evolveconsciousness.org. I will be reading an article that I published on the site the 21st of July, 2014. This is the article entitled Euphemisms, Mask, Cloud, and Water Down Truth. It's about not facing deeper truth, deeper reality, keeping people from facing themselves in fuller detail. It's a form of negative gradualism, away from what is in fact happening, representing it less than it actually is, a mask, just as I describe in my other work on gradualism. Occulting the truth, holding it back, instead of releasing it in full view. And this is also what rhetoric does, and the winding, wavering path is you're holding back the truth, you're occulting it. Because you judge the other person as not being capable of understanding it. Rather than just letting it out as the truth, and whether it hurts them or not, whatever, that's their problem of their alignment with falsity, and their inability to recognize and develop care for truth and morality, and they don't want to let go of their attachment to falsity and embrace the truth. So it's their problem. They judge, offend, and insult themselves by their own actions. So speak the truth, don't hold it back. Release it in full view. Don't be a rhetorician, don't be an orator, don't be a sophist, and just express things as they are. For example, getting someone to dissociate from themselves with the euphemism, "You are not your actions," but then also expecting them to change their actions. I wrote this because someone on Facebook who was a vegan was saying, "Oh, well, you can't tell people that they're being bad because they're not their actions. You have to help them dissociate themselves from their actions." This is bullshit. That's how you're going to get them to accept the reality, by getting them to dissociate from reality? Maybe they need to understand how they need to detach themselves from their attachment to themselves in order to view themselves honestly. But doing this isn't, "Oh, you're not your actions, therefore look at the behavior that you create," but it isn't you. So I'm not insulting you because I'm only targeting your actions. I'm not targeting you, even though you are your actions. But I'm not going to tell you that because I want to convince you of a truth without telling you the full truth. I want to lie to you and manipulate you into accepting a truth. Give me a break. People don't have care for truth yet. You think, "Oh, I'm vegan, I'm helping people, and blah, 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 it's about the animals." Yeah, but what about the truth and morality? That's what I do care for other beings and the animals and other people. But I care for truth and morality more. I'm not doing this for other beings. I'm not going to go saving all the animals in the world. It's not about doing good to 7 billion other people, or to 25 billion other beings, or 50 billion beings on the planet. It's not about doing good towards them. It's about not doing evil. It's about not doing harm, not doing violence. That's why do no harm, ahimsa, the sacred feminine, non-violence, is a principle in the universe. That's more important than trying to do good. "Oh, I'm gonna eat animals, or I'm gonna have slaves of a certain color, but not slaves of another color. I'm gonna have certain animals as my slaves and murder them and eat them, but other animals, I'm going to care for them and blah, blah, blah." It's inconsistent living. You're a walking contradiction. To continue with the article. How can they truly take ownership and responsibility for themselves and their actions, which is an expression of their consciousness themselves, if they dissociate themselves from their actions? Now, after they don't identify with their actions, you get them to re-identify with better actions in order to get them to want to do those actions instead of wrong ones? That is odd. The wrong action wasn't them, but the new right action will be them. So you're going to get them to dissociate from the wrong action so that they can adopt the right action and identify with it. So you're going to get them to dissociate from themselves in their actions in order for them to associate with themselves in a better action. Don't you see how this is going to create confusion? and a conflict in people's minds? No, you have to get them to associate that they're falsely identifying with evil. But you have to get them to recognize that that's what they are choosing to be. They are choosing to be that by their own choice to engage in that behavior. And only they can choose to do an alternate behavior and choose to identify with the right instead of the wrong, to identify with truth instead of falsity. But they are currently identified with it. So yes, you need to remove their identification with falsity, but you can't dissociate them from their actions to say, well, you are not your actions. No, you need to make them understand that you are your actions, and as long as you engage in those actions that you engage in, they will reflect you. So you want to do immorality, you want to do evil, you want to do wrong? Well, that reflects who you are, as evil, as immorality, as a wrong person. So that's odd. The wrong action wasn't them, but the new action will be them? Or is it still that none of our actions represent us in the world? Which is more bullshit. So I guess there's no becoming a better version of ourselves or anything like that, since we are not our actions. We don't need to change anything we do to become a better version of ourselves. All we need to do is believe and feel it, I guess, like the New Agers say. You don't need to actually change your actions to become a better person, since your actions aren't you. You are not your actions. So I can be a better person just by believing in it. I don't have to actually change anything about myself. I don't have to actually change my actions to be a better person. I can just be a better person, since I'm not my actions. I don't even need to change my ways. So therefore, I'm already a good person. I'm already better. I'm already perfect. There's nothing about me that needs to change, since I'm not my actions. There's nothing that's not me. I'm not my actions, so therefore I don't need to change my actions to be something else. And I don't need to ever change. I don't need to become better, since I'm already me. My actions aren't me, so I don't need to better my actions. I don't need to better myself. I'm already perfect. And there you go. That's where the deflection bubble of denial. You know, I'm a good person. Therefore, I don't do immoral actions. I don't do immoral actions, therefore I'm a good person. You know, it's all self-delusion. We just lie to ourselves all the time. Oh, I'm not my actions, so therefore I don't need to change my actions, and I don't need to improve my actions. That's not how I improve myself. I don't need to improve myself. I'm already perfect. Bunch of New Age, pseudo-spiritual bullshit. So what matters is the truth, right? Yes, the truth is what is. Speaking what is speaking truth. If you know what is, then you have a responsibility to share it with those who will listen. Not everyone can be made to listen to the truth. Why should you have to contort and twist your way through a mental gymnastics course of someone else's design in order to placate to their particular set of delicate sensibilities? That is far too complex of a procedure. The alternative of simply speaking things as they are, which represents what is in reality, is far easier and honest, forthright, and straightforward. The former is a winding, twisted path, and the latter is a straight path to truth. So forthright is characterized by directness in manner or speech, without subtlety or evasion, blunt talking and straight shooting. A blunt New England farmer, I gave them my candid opinion. It's a forthright criticism, a forthright approach to the problem. Tell me what you think, and you may just as well be frank. It is possible to be outspoken without being rude, plain spoken and to the point. A point-blank accusation. You know, candid, frank, free-spoken, point-blank, straight from the shoulder, outspoken, plain-spoken, blunt. Outspoken, open, direct, frank, straightforward, blunt, downright, candid, upfront, plain-spoken, straight from the shoulder. He was known for his forthright manner. These are all things about being honest. You're speaking the truth. You're not holding things back. You're not trying to placate people. You're not trying to manipulate them. When you euphemize a truth, you do not accurately present it without evasion of certain blunt conclusions that may disturb people's self-images. So you're trying to euphemize things so it doesn't impact them as much. It doesn't create as much of an interference, as much of a conflict, as much of a tension. But that's what will bring people to realize how wrong they are and the need for a change as a catalyst, the chaos catalyst. So if you euphemize things, you're not going to make them aware. It just is, and you release it out through speech, text, etc. as it is. Euphemisms hold back the truth like a religion holds back. Religare. That's what euphemisms do, they hold back. That's what sophistry does. It holds back the truth. So here I have a quote from Wikipedia just to explain euphemism, and it corresponds with my understanding of the topic. There's a lot of correspondences. So, a euphemism is a generally innocuous word or expression used in place of one that may be found offensive or suggests something unpleasant. So you see, you're trying to cover up unpleasantries. You're trying to cover up things that are offensive because you can't be honest with the person. The person is so weak, there's such a false self that you feel the need to jump through their gymnastic hoops and winding road and delicate sensibilities and not offend, insult, and judge them, which they do themselves by their own actions. So you can't speak the truth. Some euphemisms are intended to amuse, while others use bland, inoffensive, and often misleading terms for things the user wishes to dissimulate or downplay. You're downplaying it, not representing it as it actually is. Euphemisms are used for dissimulation to refer to taboo topics such as disability, sex, excretion, and death in a polite way and to mask profanity. The opposite of euphemism roughly equates to dysphemism. Euphemisms may be used to avoid words considered rude while still conveying their meaning. Words may be replaced by similar sounding words, gentler words, or placeholders. Some euphemisms have become accepted in certain societies for uncomfortable information. For example, in many English-speaking countries, a doctor is likely to say, "A patient passed away," rather than "The patient died." A second example relating uncomfortable information and concealing some degrees of truth would be, "We put the dog to sleep," rather than "We killed the dog." But you see, these are all euphemisms in order to downplay what actually happened. The euphemisms can be used to downplay or conceal unpalatable facts, such as collateral damage for civilian casualties. So you don't want to say civilian casualties, you'll say, "Oh, it's collateral damage," or the other way. Yeah, and in a military context, redacted for censored. So just better sounding words so that people accept them more, so that they're not as conflicting with their perceptions of reality, so that the reality is more in congruence with the delusional perceptions of reality people want to accept is the real reality because it makes them feel good about themselves, their self-image, and their worldview. It maintains the integrity of the falsity. The false unity and the false integrity is maintained so that they can remain attached to falsity. But when you speak the truth non-euphemistically, well, it risks creating unpleasantries and conflict that can bring them to shatter the false integrity and actually reconstitute themselves in an alchemical way, to burn away those impurities in that false integrity, and then reintegrate themselves in a more connected capacity, as opposed to previously in a more false unity that had them connected with falsity and truth as a way of living. So you need to remove that falsity, disintegrate the false foundation, and make it better. A euphemism is then a term used to avoid making oneself look bad in front of others. The positive face of the speaker, to express oneself without restriction. The negative face, to make oneself look bad in front of others, to avoid making oneself look bad in front of others is the positive face of the speaker. To express oneself without restriction is the negative face of the speaker, and to avoid offending the listener is the listener's negative face. The word euphemism comes from the Greek word euphemia, meaning the use of words of good omen, which in turn is derived from Greek root words eu, goodwill, and pheme, glory, flattering, speech, praise. Etymologically, the eupheme is the opposite of the blaspheme, evil speaking. The term euphemism was used as a euphemism by the ancient Greeks, meaning to keep a holy silence, speaking well by not speaking at all. So this is the whole bullshit pseudo-spiritual crap where, if you got nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. So everyone remains silent to falsity, everyone remains silent to evil, everyone remains silent to immorality, and evil gets to perpetuate. Because no one stands up for truth and morality. We want to speak well by not speaking at all. We want to glory and flatter the speech, which is what sophistry is. It's all about flattery, in order to gain favor of people. You flatter them and you love bomb them with praise in your speech, in oration, in order to gain favor. You manipulate their minds and emotions in order for them to like you. See, it's the use of words of good omen. The good omen is the word. It's a word magic. An omen is like a spell or whatever, but using the word magic, you're making yourself look good by using euphemisms, alterations of reality to not represent reality accurately and represent it in a more favorable light for yourself, for other people to like you, or for them to express your representation of them favorably for them to like you, as a reflection of how you see them. So if you express yourself seeing them in a certain positive way, then they're going to like you as well. And if you express yourself in a way that they can like you, well, then they're going to like you as well. And it's all manipulation. Euphemism may be used as a rhetorical strategy, in which case its goal is to change the valence of a description from positive to negative. The ancient Greeks said that using euphemism was to speak words that augur well. One modern example of this can be found in real estate. When a property is difficult to sell, the seller will use euphemism to attract interest from the potential buyer. The phrase cozy house is a euphemism for claustrophobic. The phrase this house needs some TLC is a euphemism for this place is a dump. So you see how they just lie about everything? Oh, it's a cozy house. No, it's actually cramped. It's a dump. Oh, it just needs some work. Needs some tender loving care. You're negotiating with reality, using words to manipulate an understanding of reality and present an image in people's minds that isn't really the way reality is. That's again the love bombing, positivity mask, optimism bias, only looking at the good so you don't look at the negative, and then the negative perpetuates on and on. It's all based on manipulation. That's what euphemisms are for. So I'll continue with my own comment from that Wikipedia quote. Well, that was a wealth of information encoded in that description of euphemism from Wikipedia with regards to psychology and persuasion. That is to say, manipulation of the mind and heart through words that shape our understanding of reality. If you are familiar with the trivium, more specifically the dichotomy between the classical trivium versus the trivium method itself, then you will understand euphemism's goal in rhetoric through the negative trivium application of manipulation. Sure, euphemisms can be used in less menacing and harmful ways than robbing people of truth, but that doesn't excuse what euphemisms are. Euphemisms, in the negative sense, are the manipulation of reality through words to limit the truth delivered. Euphemisms, in the positive sense, are putting rosy-colored glasses on someone to change the impact of reality on their perceptions. It's the same with apologetics for white lies being necessary. That is essentially the argument for euphemisms. So that was an important aspect of the negative and the positive aspect of euphemisms. The negative is where you manipulate words, you manipulate reality through the limitation of words and definitions. And the positive sense is where you put rosy-colored glasses and you represent things also through a manipulation of words. but it's to have change people's perceptions of reality through that manipulation. So people think it's a positive thing, but it's actually a negative. You believe that you're seeing reality in the way it is, but it's only a positivity mask. It's a bias, and it's actually a negative because you're being manipulated through word magic. To continue, take note of the above etymology relating to glory, flattering speech, praise, because this is to be made a fool through infatuation of the mind. This is what euphemisms do as a, quote, good omen towards people in an attempt to influence them. You get them to identify, connect, and like you by not offending them through an exposure of their own behavior that they fail to recognize. I have covered some aspects of this in my Truth is Love article audio, in terms of how people offend, insult, and judge themselves. People offend themselves by their own actions and behaviors. We bring it up. All we are doing is bringing the light, the darkness to light. That's what we do when we speak truth. So infatuation here, from my Truth is Love article. Yeah, I guess I'll read that. Infatuation is an attraction at some level that is not based on truth of any significance, but a deceptive feeling summoned as a result of mind control. Infatuation comes from the Latin infatuat, meaning to be made foolish, made a fool of. Many people associate infatuation with love. Infatuation is the result of a chemical trick in your body released from the limbic system to attract you to someone you find appealing, someone who is an ideal mate for perpetuation of your genetics and survival. So again, we have ideal, the perfection, which is what people want to believe in. They want to believe things are in their ideal state. They want to believe things are good. They want to believe they are moral. They want to believe that there's no evil and immorality in them, that they're not doing wrong. So when there's love bombing, when you make people feel good about themselves, you present an ideal image for them to accept in, which they want to believe in, so that's why they do believe in it. The ideal image is what gets put into their minds, is what they buy into. The ideal image is sold, and they buy into it. Euphemisms can sell things this way. It's part of infatuation. So you sell an idea and they buy into it. The image goes into their mind and it's used as it becomes part of their self-image and their worldview image. It's how they see the world and how they see themselves. So that's why infatuation is very dangerous. You can be infatuated with ideas. I've written notes on that as well. They're on the site. You get infatuated with an idea and then you believe in it and accept it because of the love bombing effect, because of how good it made you feel. Because you see, when you receive that idea, it's an image in your mind that fools you. It infatuates you with chemical trickery. It sends the chemicals that make you believe it's true because you're going based on your feelings. If something feels good, then it's true. You're not using your mind. You're not thinking critically. You're not processing information. You're just using your informations to discern truth, which is not a way to discern truth. Emotions are a way to discern morality, of right and wrong. In terms of morality, yes, you can use emotions. That'll indicate when you're doing wrong, morally. But they're not going to indicate when something's true or false. You can be infatuated with bullshit, but your emotions aren't going to tell you that it's bullshit because the bullshit makes you feel good. Emotions are not the way to discern truth. They're a way to discern morality because you can feel right and wrongs of a physical kind, of a moral kind, of an egregious kind in terms of good and evil, because that force of good is within us as a transcendental aspect of being, within our core being, as part of the true self. That's why we can become more of the true self, which is becoming more of those parts of transcendental being. I think I lost my train of thought, but yeah, it was about emotions and how they're not going to lead us to the truth. But they can be a part of understanding morality, because morality is tied to good and evil, versus truth and falsity doesn't necessarily deal with good and evil. You can't determine 2 plus 2 equals 4 true versus 2 plus 2 equals 5 is false using your emotions. Emotions are not the way to determine truth. They are only a capacity to determine good and evil, right and wrong in terms of morality. That's where emotions come in. But that's it, in terms of determining things. They are not a determinant aspect. They can't determine fact and truth. That's what thinking is for. That's what processing and logic, to provide that understanding. Emotions can only provide moral understanding, moral intuition. So, the trick of the chemicals is there to create an attraction in order for procreation, spreading of your DNA. This is in terms of being attracted to another person when you're infatuated with them. But I was talking about how you're infatuated with an idea. So this can deal with a mind virus and how an idea can make you so feel good about yourself that you accept it as part of your identity and worldview, and then you'll easily spread it like you would spread your DNA in procreation, because you're infatuated with the idea and you have a reverence for it, a cult of personality for the idea, a cult of idea, and then you're going to spread it because it feels good, it feels right, it resonates with you. You know, all your resonating shit, all you New Agers, you can shove that up your ass. Some people are together that shouldn't be, but still are, because they are being ruled by sensations, feelings, and emotions, and do not understand how they are being manifested and created in the first place. People just follow their emotions. It feels good. It's why the pleasure trap is one of the hugest parts of the problem in our reality. You know, you watch things, and even in life, and remember, in high school, everything's so perverted. Children just become so in pleasure trap. It's all about pleasure. It's all about appearances. All of our clothes, or identity labels of clothes, and appearances, and haircuts, and makeup, and sexual promiscuity, and it's all about pleasure and gaining favor by sex, and the women are trying to gain favor of the men, and they do stupid things, and they think that the men love them, and they just want to get into your pants, and it's all about the pleasure trap, and people are in such low base consciousness, they're manipulated by chemicals in their body, and they think that's the way. Oh, it feels good, so it's good. Yeah, sugar tastes good, so let's just eat sugar. A person tells me what I want to hear because I have self-loathing and I'm low self-esteem and I don't value myself enough. So someone starts valuing me and tells me I'm a goddess or I'm a god and I'm worth so much. Well, I'm just going to give myself to that person because they make me feel so good. And then you're going to devote yourself to them. That's the cult of personality, and it's using infatuation, love bombing people into favoring you and liking you, and glamour and all the stuff that was in euphemism. It's all part of the manipulation game. To euphemize is to manipulate. Infatuation is used as a mind control tool through compliments, praise, and flattery. These are very powerful tools to influence and manipulate people. Thomas Sheridan calls this love bombing, and I agree with that great term. Telling people they are wonderful, great, and perfect no matter what they do shuts off their critical thinking and develops a level of endearment or infatuation for the person delivering the message or in the belief itself. So you can either have a cult of personality or you can have a cult of idea. You can be infatuated with the person or you can be infatuated with the idea. The person often falls, fall in love, so you fall for the one doing the praising, either in love, romantically, or falling for what someone is selling. So you're buying what other people are selling. So we buy into beliefs all the time. People sell us stuff and we buy into it. A lot of the time we buy into it because it makes us feel good, not because it's true, because they are selling us stuff through euphemisms and clever sophistry, oration, and rhetorical manipulations in order to have us buy into things that make us feel good. So it makes you feel good, you buy into it. And there's the emotional mind control again. The pleasure trap, it's all feel good. Feel good is a huge part. That's why in my own natural law the 25 synopsis of 25 New Age deceptions. The first one I made on number 11 after Mark Passio's 10 was the feel-good trap, because it's like one of the hugest traps we have that leads us into falsity and away from truth is our attachment to the physical material world, attachment to our bodies, attachment to the pleasure we derive from our bodies. People buy into bullshit because they want to believe it. It makes them feel good. So either way, it is a con job. You are being conned, tricked, duped, bamboozled, hoodwinked, screwed, deceived, manipulated, and fooled. Hence, infatuation. You're being fooled. You're not in right, you're in the wrong. That's what a fool is someone who's in the wrong. So it's a con job. You're just being manipulated into falsity. This is the infatuation being made a fool of. Someone is selling you something you want to buy. You want to buy into praise, compliments, and flattery. It boosts your self-esteem, self-image, and self-concept you have created. That is your ego personality identity construct. It makes you feel good. That is the most important aspect. Feeling good about yourself, your self-image, thinking you are, quote, good, is what seems to drive most people in their worldview and belief acceptance. They'll believe things as long as it maintains a cohesion with their delusion of, I'm a good person, I'm a moral person. And they just want to feel good in the comfort and convenience. And that helps them ignore the negative. This is part of the positivity mask. The optimism bias, where you only want to see the good and ignore the negative. So yeah, people believe they're good just because they feel good. Anything that makes them feel good, the image they accept. The image presented is an image of goodness, so they accept that as an image about themselves, so then they see themselves as good, and that drives them to continue doing what they're doing. Because why would they bother changing, since the image they have of themselves is good, so they can keep doing what they're already doing, which is an image of goodness, even though it might be false, immoral, and evil. They have the image in them, and the image is what drives them to keep doing what they're already doing. To continue, those who can influence people through emotions, feelings, and sensations of compliments, flattery, and praise have inculcated memes into many minds as a mind virus. So they've taken memes and they've shoved them into people's minds, imposed them, inducted them into the minds of people, and they become mind viruses because of the feel-good infatuation that people take them in with. The understanding of what is being done slips by conscious awareness, critical thinking, asking questions, thinking things through, and coming to accurate conclusions. So they don't understand what is being done to them. They don't have the conscious awareness, the critical thinking. They're not asking questions, or thinking things through to come to accurate conclusions. The limbic neurochemical effect is overriding the neocortical higher order functioning. So instead of thinking properly and in a clear mind, you're being bombarded with electrochemical signals to feel good. So you're not going to be in a state of discomfort which would allow you to revalidate your position in life and the way you live. Because if there's a discomfort and something's wrong and you're suffering, we're going to try to find a way to remove that suffering. But if you're not suffering and you're in comfort and convenience, as far as you're concerned, there's no suffering and there's no reason to change anything. A cult functions in the same way, love-bombing the followers into providing the needs they are missing in their lives, providing attention, promises of fulfillment of some kind, praise, compliments, flattery, etc. We develop cults of personality in our own truther groups. This is the basis for gurus. People follow one person and accept everything they say as gospel. People uncritically and unquestioningly accept the spiritual guru's beliefs because they are selling what people want to hear. Now with the New Age's belief, it's even more feel-good manipulation and memes about 5D hyperdimensional ascension, soul hierarchies, spirit this or that, quote, balance, and other buzzwords circular reasoning, glitter talk, rosy-colored glasses, avoid the negative, on and on with more bullshit to feel special and good about ourselves. If you want to conceive of 5D and other dimensions, fine, but get out of living in the clouds and get grounded and engage the reality of right action necessary in the world to produce freedom and peace. These beliefs are like a cult, an imaginal mental cult, to construct a belief system in your mind to make you feel good about whatever you want, to allow you to believe whatever you want. Whatever problems or insecurities you have, this person or belief seems to fix you up and clear all of the baggage and make you feel spiritual and make you feel good. These are all concepts in the mind, images that manipulate you. They speak words, they make you feel good about yourself. The love bombing infatuation, your infatuation and fooled by this person into liking them, or fooled by an idea into liking an idea, and then you become attached to that idea or to the person. So it's a cult of personality or a cult of an idea, an imaginal mental cult. And you're not even aware. Well, that's the way cults usually work. You're not even aware that you're in a cult. To continue, this is being made foolish because of a feeling that is being summoned. It's being invoked in you. Someone is using magic to invoke a feeling within you. And that feeling is being invoked with word magic, and it's being summoned within you. And you're being made a fool through that feeling that is being summoned within you from an external magician. They're using words. The vibratory speech is going and affecting your input of reality. Their vibration is speaking as an effect. It affects you, it comes in, and it summons the emotions which manipulate you. So I just said that right here. This is magic again. Spells of words are manipulating you into summoning your inner energy of feelings to influence your decision-making ability and lead you down a potential false path. It's a system of mind viruses that infect people towards living in a delusional fantasy reality of illusions, beliefs, wishes, wants, desires, intents, etc. Not the real work of learning, of seeking and discovering truth, letting go of attachment to illusions that make us feel good about ourselves, our ego, and really getting grounded in reality of truth before we go floating off into the clouds of possibilities. And that was from the article, Truth is Love. Then some people will say, well, you're using dysphemism, humiliating people. So as above, and the description from Wiki, it said, dysphemism is the opposite. So instead of trying to make people feel good by telling them bullshit, well, dysphemism is humiliating people. So, oh, well, it's not truth is love. Even if it's not euphemism, you're just being mean and you're humiliating people as a dysphemism. Instead of using a euphemism, well, you're in dysphemism. Really? So what is it to humiliate someone with truth in order to help them face the truth? Because you see, when you're telling people truth and it humiliates them, so what? They humiliated themselves, they judge, offended, and insulted themselves by their own actions. All you're doing is bringing the darkness up to the light for them to look at it with their own eyes and see it. Because they put it deep down into themselves. The darkness is deep down in their shadow, darkness, demon, negative, evil, and immorality is deep down in them. They don't want to look at it. It's dark. So you, as a light worker, bring that darkness up to the level of their vision, into the light of awareness for them to look at it. Because without awareness, you're not seeing anything. You don't have the vision. So they're not currently aware of their darkness, demon, negative, evil, and immorality. Their wrongs. They're not aware of them, so you got to make them aware of them. So that's what you do. You speak the love to make them aware of their evil so that they can drop the evil and no longer do the evil. It's all out of care. Care for truth and morality and other beings. Because when you learn to care for truth, it brings you to morality and it'll bring you to other beings. You'll care for truth, morality, and other beings. So it's not a dysphemism of trying to humiliate people, trying to hurt people, even though they may be hurt by speaking the truth. It's not a euphemism of trying to hide the truth and trying to manipulate them into accepting truth. So it's not a dysphemism or a euphemism to speak truth. Hey, what is it to humiliate someone with truth in order to help them face the truth? It's not a humiliation as most people envision in their minds, to degrade someone with no purpose of helping them raise themselves in conscious awareness. That's not what it's about. It's not about degrading someone. It's about having them face how they have degraded themselves through their own choice, free will choice to engage in actions and behaviors. They have chosen to do it. They have bought into bullshit and have chosen to live that way. You are exposing that darkness, the shadow demon darkness, negative, that they don't want to look at, that they're in fear of truth and morality because they don't want to look at themselves honestly. You are bringing that to the light of day, to the light of their conscious awareness, for them to look at it. Because if you do not do this, they will never face the darkness inside of them, and they will remain attached to that darkness as an ego attachment, as a calcified ego attached to darkness. And they will remain in a false ego personality identity construct based on falsity of the falsity, darkness, evil, immorality, demon, and wrong. All that aspect will be part of them, and it will stay a part of them within them because they don't want to face it with the light of truth and morality. That's why those who have truth and morality have a responsibility to shed the light of truth onto others who are attached in the evil and darkness by exposing their ways. And yes, it is uncomfortable and it's not fun work. But that's how you get people to change, as the catalyst of chaos. By facing evil and immorality, that's how people will change. That's how they will admit that they are wrong and that they need to learn. They need to care for truth, because clearly they're not caring for truth right now as it is, because they're still engaging in immorality and they're still attached to falsity and living it in their lives every day. So let's look at the word humiliate. So humiliation, a humbling, a humiliation, it's too humble. So humiliation is to humble. And as an adjective, from the old French, humble, I don't know. Earlier I was humile. Okay, so then in Latin, humilis, and that's lowly and humble, literally on the ground, from humus, earth. And then we have the verb for humble. So above was the adjective for humble, and then we have the verb to render oneself humble, to lower someone in indignity. And we have humility, modesty, sweetness, from the Latin humilitatem, and that's lowness and insignificance, meekness, and it comes from humble. And then I say, do you see? Humble, humiliate, humility, making yourself humble, take down your pride yourself, or making others humble by showing how they are being foolish and false. So people humiliate themselves, they're just not aware of it. Now you can make yourself humble, you can take down your own pride by facing reality and seeing how you are humiliating yourself in terms of natural law. And this is in my natural law boundary conditions presentation, where I talk about this aspect of humility. When you are stepping out of bounds, when your boundaries for behavior step out of bounds of natural law and you're overstepping the boundary conditions, you are creating pressure and you are humiliating yourself. Now eventually when that pressure builds up and it whiplashes you back down to the ground, so you see, when you're humble, you're on the ground. You're not trying to be God, an arbiter of truth, in God delusion, overriding the boundaries of natural law, which are there for your own betterment. Because you're trying to be God, do whatever you want. No, that's wrong. You're not living on the ground. You're trying to be a God in the sky. Natural law will smack you back down to the ground, back down to the earth, after a certain point. So in your own life, you want to murder someone, and you're in trauma, and then you're having your wife has 2 kids, but you go screwing some hoes on the street and whatever, and it's all trauma, and you just keep creating more negative consequences for yourself. And then your wife leaves you, and then you lose your job and everything goes to shit. Well, you did it all to yourself. You didn't want to face reality and how you did a murder and a wrong, and then you didn't want to cope with that, and then you just kept doing more wrongs, and it kept snowballing, and then you destroy yourself. So we humiliate ourselves by our own actions. And as I mentioned in the quote I read in the previous presentation on natural law causal agents, with regard to how we create evil, so it's not that all evil we do is generated by us. People can get murdered and raped and assaulted and they didn't do anything wrong. But that's because we allow evil to continue everywhere. We don't take responsibility. We want to abdicate responsibility. We want to create special groups and give them special privileges and special rights that no one else has. Like, create rules of, well, you smoked a plant and you're going to go to jail for that. And then this group has the right to beat the shit out of you because you smoked the plant, and nothing happens to them. They're violating natural law, but they think they're doing right. But they're actually doing wrong as right, because it's the appearance of good as evil. That's what the whole plan is to manipulate people into accepting evil as good, because, one, you're selling them false images that they take into their mind and use as a basis to construct their ego personality identity construct, which is what we do since we're born. All the images coming into us through our eyes and all the sense perceptions that we create through the vision of our minds, the true vision in our minds, that is information that becomes part of who we are. All the positive reinforcements and the negative reinforcements through our parents and teachers and everything, that helps to shape who we are. And we are manipulated into believing certain things as good and certain things as bad. And through this manipulation, we can live lives of evil, live lives of immorality without knowing it. And you look at movies like The Giver, where people were living in immorality, perpetuating evil as good, but they weren't aware of how they were perpetuating evil as good because they were sold the false image that what they were doing was good, that the current condition was good, and they needed to feel good about it all the time. So that's why I think they had the drugs. Well, they were prevented from feeling emotions, just like in the movie Equilibrium, which is why I'm saying emotions have to do with more the moral aspect of right and wrong, as good and evil, as the force of good, as the force of truth, love, good, right, morality, natural law that comes from within us that we can exemplify outward. So yeah, that's how. And anyways, it's too much information at once there. It's all jumbling in my mind. But that's how we are the ones that create our own suffering, even though we don't do it directly. We do it in an aggregate of past actions. Anyways, I've explained this in the previous articles, in the previous presentations, and the last one I just did on natural law causal agents, and the one yesterday on perceiving reality or causality consciousness and natural law. I'm explaining karma and how this works. So we're the ones who create our own conditions by our choice to ignore the negative and ignore evil and let it perpetuate. And then it becomes the standard, the condition that we live in, and we live evil as if it was good. So that's why we humiliate ourselves. So we need to take down our pride ourselves, or other people will take it down for us by showing how we are foolish and false. And that's what natural law is when we overstep the boundaries, try to be gods, and try to be arbiters of truth. At some point, the pressures of the negative consequences will be too much, even for the insulated bubbles of reality and the comfort zones we live in. It'll be too much, and we will feel the consequences of our actions as the culmination of pressure is released as an elastic to smack us back down on the ground, to humble us and humiliate us, to show us the humiliation of our own ways and bring us back into a humility with natural law, to be humbled under natural law, to serve natural law, to serve truth and morality. That's to be humbled under truth and morality. And when you don't humble yourself under truth and morality, what do? Well, you're stepping over the bounds of natural law morality, and you're humiliating yourself. You judge, insult, and offend yourself by your own actions. Alright, so I'll continue with the article. Take down your pride yourself, or make others humble by showing how they are being made foolish or false. You take down their pride and dignity in themselves, because it is a false pride and dignity. It is an illusion. The way they view themselves, their self-image, you take down the illusion of the false self-image. People aren't facing themselves in the mirror. It's time to help them get real with themselves and snap out of the illusory dream reality they live in. That's how you speak truth. Outspoken, frank, candid, authentic, forthright, unreserved, not holding back, not euphemisms to hide behind. And then I end it with, learning is fun. Happy face. Because when I made this was all done, like I said, the vegan who said, you are not your actions. So that made me, oh, that's a euphemism. And then it made me write this whole note on euphemisms. And then it brought me to humiliate. And that's why I wrote at the end, learning is fun. Because damn, is it ever fun. Seeking truth and morality is the biggest joy I've ever had. I've never had kids, so I'm sure that would be even more of a joy in terms of feel-good states and how we procreate and perpetuate ourselves into the future through our offspring. And it's a part of yourself. You created another part of yourself that will continue after you die. And there's a lot of aspects of, and there's a love and care for your own kind, and there's a lot of great things and how wonderful it is. But I don't have kids, so I don't have that experience, but I can understand other people having it. I can transpose myself and empathize and understand the joys of it. It'd be wonderful to have children, but truth and morality is what I have to sustain me. That's what I have to give to other people. I don't have much of a personal life. Personal life, whatever, we all have personal lives. There's 7 billion people on the planet with personal lives. My personal life doesn't matter. What matters is truth and morality. That's how we're going to change things. We're not going to change things by what I do in my life. I don't do anything. All I do is truth and morality. That's the only significance I have in my life. It may be sad for people, oh, I don't have friends and whatever. I don't really care. The friends I will make will be friends who are based in truth and morality, who have the same desire to seek truth and morality because they want to embrace truth and morality, because they want to become the truth and morality, and then they want to share and express that truth and morality for others to do the same thing. And those are the 4 levels of care for truth. And that's part of the great work. And that's what I'm about. That's what my personal life is about. I don't have a personal life like other people do. That's why I don't really care about other people's personal lives. If your life is about truth and morality, then I'll care to have you in my life, and then I'll care about your personal life. But otherwise, I don't really care about your personal life. What does it matter to me? What I care about is truth and morality. And if that's reflected in your life or not, then I'll care to have it reflected in your life, or to expose how you're not embodying that and how you're embodying the opposite, which is falsity and immorality. That I'll care to show you how you're not doing that. But you got to do it yourself. You got to jump on the journey and take the quest and seek truth yourself. And then at a certain point, if you've reached a moral baseline where you're doing the least harm you can because you can, well, then you can ally with me. You don't need to know everything that I know. Let's go build a new future. I need to find people like that in my life, and then I'll be living with you personally, right? And then I'll be able to know you personally. But I don't need to know the personal lives of 7 billion people on this planet. It doesn't interest me. But once those people will start to live in truth and morality and understand the things, at least the moral baseline, then we can create from there without creating evil. Or at least they understand the moral baseline so they can understand the secondary constructs such as government and police and military and how those are evil by understanding the moral baseline of do no harm, no violence on all beings, because they all matter, not just humans. If I can't get people to that level, then I can't be with them personally in my life to create at the level I'm at. They're going to be creating evil while I'm trying to create good. And this is what true unity is in foundational living. So get on the same foundational living, get on the same moral baseline, then we can unite, and then we can get to know ourselves, each other personally. Otherwise, I don't want to waste my time getting personal with people. There's more important things in my life, which are truth and morality. If I die alone, then I die alone, but at least my whole life has been about service to truth and morality, which is more important than other people's stupid little pleasures in life. Does that mean everyone has to do what I do? No. I'm at a position, growing up and being a loner, I understand now why. I understand how I didn't conform to social situations, and I didn't understand all the hidden rules of social bullshit. It was all bullshit to me. It's like, what, you have to do this, and this is how conversations go, and this is what people are supposed to do, but it seemed pointless, and all these unspoken rules, I never learned them intuitively. You know, conversational sophistry and how to get people to like you by asking them personal questions and asking them questions to feign an interest. So that's why I am the way I am, and why I eventually, I see it, came onto the path of truth and morality, is because of how isolated I had become in my own development of my ego personality identity construct, which allowed me to be so lost and lonely as to want to jump on to truth and morality. Whereas other people, I can't get them to get to truth and morality, to care for truth and morality, to jump on the true spiritual path, which is morality, towards greater attainment of truth and morality. I can't get them to jump onto that because they don't care, because they have personal relationships in their lives that they are attached to. They have time in their lives that are spent in personal relationships. They have the time in their lives that are spent in other things. They don't have the time to spend in learning and seeking because they don't care to learn and seek, because they don't understand the value in seeking truth and morality, because they have all these distractions, all these perceptual distractions, which is in the presentation yesterday on perceiving reality. The perceptual distractions are preventing them from understanding the importance of truth and morality. They have all these pleasure gratifications and optimism biases and positivity masks that helps them avoid facing the negative and the immorality and the evil. There's too much personal attachment to things and not enough attachment to truth and morality. So people enjoy life. Yeah, enjoy life with your friends and people you have personal relationships with. You don't have personal relationships with 7 billion people. You have personal relationships with the people of limited interactivity within the localized area of living that you live in. You're not interacted with other 7 billion people. You only have a limited circle of connectivity with other people, which determines your identification with them and your attachment to them. And so you keep them as central importances in your life, and you spend time and attention around them. That'd be fine if we were living in a good world, but we're not, and we need to do the work to get to create that world. So long as you're attached to other people, attached to having fun, attached to pleasure gratification, life mottos, find your bliss, follow your bliss, live adventures and have fun and live life to the fullest, and all these things, these are all distractions. People don't realize it. They think, oh, this is the purpose in life. No, these are all distractions to get you to live in your own my truth, my pleasure, my survival, my freedom. You're having fun, you're comfortable, you're convenient. Meanwhile, the whole house is burning down, but you're having fun. So, congratulations on being manipulated into the pleasure trap, fools. That's what we all are. Bunch of fools. Even people who find truth and morality. Like I said, different levels of care for truth. You can care to seek truth, but you can still be in various levels of the pleasure trap. You know, I'm working still on removing myself as much from the attachments of the pleasure trap as I can. I've done a lot of work so far, but still more to do. Still more harm to remove myself by improving the world and removing the evil and harm and immorality in the world, and then I'll be able to actualize myself into greater potential, but I can't because other people are doing it right now, and we're all living in the same way of life. So, we can only live up to a certain maximal actualization and realization of truth and morality as an aggregate. So anyways, guess that's that. Thank you for your time and attention. Have a nice day. Take care. Peace.